each other down. And the Daring Skyjack will probably want to attack here. All right, Arsenal Munch is going to attack with his Daring Skyjack here. He's fine to make a trade for either of these two creatures. Let's see what Malco wants to do. See, he's tanking it out a little bit on the blocks. He decides not to block. He's just going to take it. He feels like he can win the race with 2 Extort creatures out there. He's probably right. But a post-combat Kingpin's Pet also adds a second Extort creature to Arsenal Munch's board here. All right, this is going to be an important turn. A removal spell can help turn things around. He still has a free attack with the transport, and he's going to send in the Syndicate Enforcer as well. Asking the question, Arsenal Munch, would you like to trade your Kingpin's Pet for my Syndicate Enforcer? And the answer is yes. All right, so those do trade. There's no combat trick. There's no aerial maneuver here. And an Alms Beast is going to follow up for Malco. That's a huge 6/6. Anything that blocks it gets lifelink, but who cares? Take a look at Alms Beast there. It's big, it's scary. It has banners hanging off of it. But mainly it's a 6/6, and you know, sure, they can block it and gain a little bit of life, but the thing is so hard to deal with. All right, Gift of Orzhova is going to hit the Daring Skyjack here, I'm assuming. There it is, and that is going to help enable a race, as it's going to be able to hit for 4 in the air. That is going to allow the Daring Skyjack to swing past the Basilicus creatures, no blocks, and it's going to drop Malco down to 12 and bring Arsenal Munch to 21. But boy, are the beats coming in now. 8 damage coming your way, Arsenal Munch, and you don't even have a block for it.
Yeah,
13 for Arsenal Munch now. Huge hits. All right, so Arsenal Munch, can he hit his 4th land drop? He's been stuck on 3 for the last 2 turns. He does hit it.
Yeah, and he's still got 5 cards in hand as well.
That's right. You can take a look over here. This is cards in hand, library, and then how many are in the graveyard.
Not very much right now on either side, just the Syndicate Enforcer on one end and Kingpin's Pet on the other.
That's right. Here's the graveyards right here. All right, so Arsenal Munch, now that he's hit this land drop, he's got to try to craft this turn. He knows he can keep getting in, at least potentially with Daring Skyjack, but Malco has 4 cards in hand, played a land and just passed. So there's a lot of considerations here. Things like Executioner Swing and Smite come into play. And it looks like he's going to play around Smite by leaving his Daring Skyjack back. This is not a good position for him, though, unless he has a Smite of his own. And it looks like he's got a Grisly Spectacle that he's going to use to take out the Alms Beast here on Malteco's upkeep.
Yeah, that seems like a thoroughly good use of a Grisly Spectacle.
Absolutely. He still decided not to attack with his Daring Skyjack. He didn't want to use it on the Basilicus creature to play around Smite, and he doesn't want to lose his Skyjack to Executioner Swing. All right, so now we know that the Armored Transport is going to attack. There's not a lot of reason that we can see off the top here for Basilicus creature to attack, so it's just a matter of what does he have during his first main here for Malco. Now, he's going to just tap out, it looks like, and play... Oh, he's going to play a land and then Undercity Plague. Now, we were talking about how this wasn't a great card, but it's going to be absolutely devastating here. As we get a look at it, Arsenal Munch is going to have to discard a card, lose a life, and sack a permanent. He does not have permanents that he wants to sack here. He's behind on land drops already. The Basilicus creature is probably what's going to have to go. But, man, this is going to be devastating because the Armored Transport is probably going to be encoded here. And it has a free attack. So he's discarded a Smog Elemental, lost the life, and he's deciding what he wants to sacrifice. This is a huge swing in Malteco's direction. Right now it's on the stack. Arsenal Munch is deciding which permanent he wants to sacrifice, and then Malteco's going to have the option to encode Undercity Plague thanks to Decipher ability. I'm assuming then he's going to put it on Armored Transport. He has free attack here. All right, so Arsenal Munch decided to sack the Gift of Orzhova, leaving him still with 2 creatures. This Armored Transport's a huge problem now for him, though. He can chump block here, save essentially 3 life. He's going to lose a permanent anyway, So he might as well block, and he does. He's going to throw the Daring Skyjack in front instead of the Basilica Screecher. And let's see if Arsenal Munch can come back from this. If he hits a land, he could have something like Angelic Edict to take out the Armored Transport, and that would also make the Undercity Plague go away. He also could have a Smite, but he doesn't. He just has a Balustrade Spy, and he is way up against it here. Balustrade Spy is going to now put the ability to grind. And as we see here, the 3 cards that get milled away are a Boros Elite, a Cartel Aristocrat, and a Swamp. So that's a little bit of information for Arsenal Munch for next game. All right, another big turn here for Malteco. He's got 4 cards in hand, 6 mana, 2 creatures. Now he's got 7 mana. He's in a really good position. What does he have? Vizkopa Confessor. He is going to pay the Extort, and he is also going to activate the ability. I'm assuming that since he's at 13 and under no pressure, he's going to pay the full 3 life. He does. We get a chance to see Arsenal Munch's hand, which is Executioner Swing, Syndicate Enforcer, and Guardian of the Gateless.
Okay, just want to take you very briefly across to Raider Rabbit. That's Reed Duke up against Cosmo. And Cosmo, as you can see, already has an Experiment 1 that is a 5/2 thanks to this Madcap skills. Also got Evolve going with Jaya Sage. Mana open, and Reed Duke down here with just a Death Cult Rogue early on in trouble in that one. Marshall, back to you at our main game, Malteco against Arsenal Munch.
All right, let's see what was exiled here. So we can pull over to the side and see what was exiled. It was Executioner Swing. That's what we were thinking was going to get exiled. It's just one of the few ways to deal with an Armored Transport. And it was the only one in Arsenal Munch's hand that could do that. He can still block for a while. He's got the 2/3 Balustrade Spy, which is going to help stabilize the board and keep that transport back. But any tricks from Malteco can change that. A Syndicate Enforcer, though, for for Arsenal Munch, is another worthy addition, as he now has 2 Extort creatures on the table, and if he can cast a string of cheap spells, he can start working on the life total of Malteco. But in the meantime, Malteco is going to attack. Block from Balustrade Spy. What did Malteco grab? Could be an Executioner Swing. Could be Aerial Maneuver. He also could just be attacking to test him. There's almost no reason not to attack with the Armored Transport here. His opponent is tapped out, and he just took 1 Executioner Swing from his hand, so he has nothing to fear. So he could just be doing it to say, hey, maybe he'll miss his block.
I can tell you that Reed Duke has lost that game. He got a Kingpin's Pet down up against that Experiment 1. Act of Treason, took it away, and then flew over. Cosmo wins that game.
All right, back here on our main match, it's going to be Arrows of Justice plus a few Extort triggers, which are going to take down the Balustrade Spy. So that's going to clear the way and make the Armored Transport have great attacks again. Unless Arsenal Munch can find a way to get down another blocker. We know he's got a 5-drop. We're going to move this down just so the cards are a little bigger for you viewing at home. Normally the player's hand is down in this bottom area here, but since we're just watching, we don't want to give away too much information. We can pull that all the way down. All right, so we have an attack from Syndicate Enforcer. It gets in there, and then an Armored Transport to follow up. He's going to be able to pay for 1 Extort, but again, being stuck on lands means that he's just not able to maximize the things that he wants to do. We know he still has Guardian of the Gateless in his hand as well, just sitting there waiting. Put me in, coach.
Yeah,
ready to play. Yeah. All right, there's a Gutter Skulk for Malteco, just adding to his pretty significant board, and we see a lot of life total swapping happening here thanks to 2 Extort triggers on both sides of the board. And here comes that Armored Transport. It's going to prompt probably just a block with the Armored Transport of Malteco, and it does.
And something you find a lot in these matches, Marshall, is that when you have double Extort on both sides, whoever gets like a tug-of-war, whoever gets to get 1 away and has the Extort edge, then suddenly it's like, okay, so I'm extorting you twice, you're extorting me once.
Yes.
Grind away.
That's right. Now, okay, so Guardian of the Gateless is a huge swing for Arsenal Munch. Right now, Malteco's on 1 card in hand. He's just drawn his card for the turn, which makes it up to 2. And Guardian can block Armored Transport and anything else that gets thrown at it pretty nicely. It also is able to get in for damage. Remember, it's 10-8 right now. All right, here comes Gutter Skulk. This is potentially just going to be blocked by the Guardian. I think I'd probably just block myself, but let's see what Arsenal Munch does. Only 2 cards in hand for Malteco. It's a weird attack, though. He really would rather keep that Guardian of the Gateless back to be able to block Armored Transport eventually, but he can't just start taking 2 damage a turn as a result. So Guardian of the Gateless goes on the stack. It's a 4/4, so this looks like an Executioner swing then. And there it is. Executioner swing for Malteco is going to finish off the Guardian. Surprised he didn't attack with the Armored Transport as well there.
Meanwhile, terrific match going on between Sam Pardy at the top of your screen and Oscar Jones in his first match, the 15-year-old from the United States. 12-7 is the score. And just look at these graveyards, just absolutely filling up completely. True Fire Paladin gone. Armored Transport gone. The Legionnaires gone. Fortress Cyclops has just bitten the dust for Oscar Jones. On the other side of the table, you can see Killing Glare gone. Grizzly Spectacle gone. Death's Approach gone. And on the board, you have Dutiful Thrall just hit the board. Syndicate Enforcer, the 3/2 Extort Man. And then now Squad Commanders. That's for Sam. Down at the bottom, here comes Spark Trooper #1. Remember, this player, we know, has 2 of them, the foil and the regular, and that is going to trigger the Court Street Denizen. Spark Trooper, it's red, but it's also white. And now, what do you do about that? Because it's going to be Battalion Bomber Corps, Battalion Daring Skyjet to the air. There go the triggers onto the stack. Spark Trooper with a ton of bonus life. Bomber Corps going to get to deal 1 damage. It's going to hit the Dutiful Thrall. Sure, you can regenerate, Sam, but that is still a tapped Dutiful Thrall now. So that's the situation in that one. Terrific match going on. But let's get back to Marshall with our main game.
All right, so Arsenal Munch is down to 1 creature left. He just had to block with his Basilicus creature on Armored Transport, and there's now a Balustrade Spy being added to the board by Malteco. Malteco now has 0 cards in hand. 1 land's going to get milled away on Arsenal Munch's side, but he's got 2 cards in hand and only 4 life. He's still facing down 2 Extort creatures and a pretty overwhelming board. He's going to need a big stabilizer here. Losing that Guardian of the Gateless to the Executioner swing was pretty devastating.
Just to confirm where we are, Sidursky, Jack Sad is 1 up on David Kaplan, Gooberfish, and Christoph Hartmann, Cosmo, 1 up on Reed Duke, Raider Rabbit.
All right, so that game just ended. It looks like Arsenal Munch has conceded, and Malteco is going to take game 1 of their match.
Right, so you are back at the match between Oscar Jones at the bottom. He's on 9 life right now. His Spark Trooper has just gone away. 1 life for Sam Pardy. Just 1. Just 1. Now Squad Commando, Syndicate Enforcer, Dutiful Thrall, and a Spirit, courtesy of this Beckon Apparition. So Sam, he has 1 card in hand to go with his 1 life. Oscar, no cards in hand, but 9 life. This is so tight because just look, 3 damage on the table, 6 damage on the table, 7 damage, 8 damage potentially. But we are in turn 10 for Sam Pardy. He has 1 card. What's he going to do with it? Is this going to be Extort? Night Watch, 2/2 Vigilance into play. And Oscar goes to 8, and now here they come, 3, 6, 7, 8. That looks like game, and it is. There you go. Terrific stuff. What a game, and Sam Pardy pulls that one out. Oscar Jones misses out on that one. So we're just going to do a little bit of fiddling as we head towards our next match. Marshall, you've got something going on over there. What's going on in your match?
So on the bottom part of the screen, I have Gooberfish, David Kaplan, and he is in the midst of combat right now.
And he's 1-0 down, of course, to Jack Sad.
He is. He just used Arrows of Justice to take out Armored Transport. And it looks like that game just ended as well with, I believe, David Kaplan equalizing here. He's got 2 creatures on board. His opponent only has 3 life left, and I can only assume that that's what the concession was.
Okay, I have an incredibly complicated board state to take you through. DZY, Jan van der Vet is at the top of the screen, up against Eken. This is Andreas Eklund, an all-European clash. Just look at the board. DZY is on 3, Eken down here at 11, both down to very few cards in hand. Just look at the graveyards, just how completely stacked they are. Remember, we told you that someone might be on the mill plan, and that certainly seems to be what's happened here. We've got 2 Sage's Road Denizens sitting in the graveyard for Eken, and right now he has Frilled Oculus, unblockable, with Way of the Thief on it. Zerichi Tiger, our much maligned tiger, trying to keep DZY alive right now. Treasury Thrall is there, Incursion Specialist, Undercity Informer, and this 3/2 flyer that could yet seal the deal for Eken. It's going to be Agoraphobia. That is going to land on Vizkoba Confessor. Earlier on, 4 life got paid. I wonder if Jan van der Vet regrets his 4 life right now. He's sitting at 1. He'd love to be at 5. Wow. Right at the back end. And this is interesting. Both players, they've taken about a third of their life clock for this first game of a potential 3. Eken now. He's going to attack. 3/2 Assault Griffin comes in. And there it is. The 3/5 unblockable Frilled Oculus gets the job done. And Eken takes the lead over DZY.
All right, in our other match, we have Lord Nazgul on the top. He is the mill deck. We were talking about possible mill deck. He's the one that's running it. But he's used up a ton of removal with Executioner, Swing, Killing Glare, and 1,000 Lashes plus a Smite to keep Ordrun Veteran, Spark Trooper, Viashino Shanktail, and a White of Precinct 6 from killing him. And but right now, there is a Diluvian Primordial on the stack. It looks like it's going to get a pit fight back here, which is going to take out an Assault Griffin and really put Lord Nazgul in a great position to win this game, even though he's slightly behind before this. That 7 mana barrier is pretty rough, but the Prophetic Prism allowed him the 2nd blue mana thanks in conjunction with Dimir Kirun, and all of a sudden he's got a 5/5 flyer, which is going to be facing down a 3/1 on the ground, and only 1 card left in hand for George. All right, there's the pit fight. It does get exiled. You see Magic Online lets us know that there's been a new card exiled, and you can go check that anytime. You can also just move that to the side, and it'll just stay there. Revealed cards also go over there. You can see the red zone pop up as George adds a Warmind Infantry to the board. The red zone only pops up during combat, and then it disappears. It's pretty cool.
Give you a couple of quick results. First result in of the championship. Christoph Hartmann, Cosmo, defeats Reed Duke 2-0. Sam Pardy, 2-1 over Oscar Jones, is the winner in that one. Sidursky and Kaplan tied at 1 right now. And home, 1-0 over Sean McLaren.
Okay. Lord Nazgul, he's going to swing in there with Diluvian Primordial. That's going to drop George down to 7 and put him potentially on a 1-turn clock. Lord Nazgul, he's got 3 cards in hand and a ton of mana, plus 2 Extort guys on the battlefield. So he's in a position where he can actually win this game potentially. Now we see no attack here, and just pass a turn back with 2 cards in hand and 7 mana up in all 3 of his colors for George. So things likely not looking very good for him here.
Just want to tell you briefly about a 1-for-1 trade on Malco against Arsenal Munch. That turned out to be an Alms Beast for Malco and a Merciless Eviction from Arsenal Munch. The classic 1-for-1.
Not bad. All right, Purge the Profane. But there's a big tap out here. Is this Aurelia's Fury? I think it is.
Tick. Tick.
Oh,
tick,
I see mana ticking down in the lower corner here. As right now, Lord Nazgul has lethal on his side.
Oh, it's Killing Glare.
Killing Glare. Okay, so Killing Glare is going to take out Diluvian Primordial, and that is going to extend his clock a lot further. So a couple of Extort triggers, though, is going to bring George down to only 5 life. But right now, well, there's not really any attacks here. I mean, sure, he can attack with both, but you know, now the Key Rune is going to be an important piece of the puzzle here, as he does have the mana to activate it thanks to Prophetic Prism. All right, let's see. All right, Kingpin's Pet, that's going to help out a lot. But right now, George needs to start attacking, I think, because he's going to have to start getting some damage through. He is, in fact, going to send in the Ore Mine Infantry. Lord Nazgul is just going to take it, though. All right, this is a big one. He knows he has 2 damage he can get through as George is on 0 cards in hand. So if Ari wants, he can attack for 2 freely. But he might want to maximize Extort. Let's see what's on the stack here. Basilica Screecher. So that's going to just add to the fun here. More Extort. Everybody's paying their taxes today, especially George. It's going to drop him down to 3.
You know what would be really good against this?
What's that?
Surichi Tiger.
Yeah.
One more result for you, by the way. Dmitry Butakov is underway. He defeated Daniel Botov in the matchup of the DBs. DB beat DB 2-0. Silenced 1 is defeated.
All right, so there is a possible attack with Cynic of the Tides here, but unfortunately, and he might even want to do that. For sure the Dimir Key Rune is going to get him. We talked about that at the start of the turn. So let's see what attacks Ari comes up with here. Looks like just the Key Rune. Yeah, just the Key Rune. That's going to put George down to 1 life, and it means that any spell will kill him. It also means that that Ari can Alpha Strike next turn if he doesn't think that George has drawn something that can interfere with that. All right, main phase. 4 cards in hand for Ari. He's tapping mana. Whoop, untapped. It looks like he's going to lead off with the Dimir Key Rune attack here. All right, here it comes. Alpha Strike from Dimir Key Rune. Is it good enough? Go to blocks. Obviously no blocks. And that's it.
Wow.
Lord Nazgul finishes this game. Now, were we at... Yeah, well, why don't we send it over to yours?
So what I have here is the result of a real back-and-forth game. Arsenal Munch, Sean McLaren at the bottom of your screen. He's on 9 life up against Melderhome, 15. And right now, the dominating permanent on the table is this, Whiter Precinct 6. It is a 4-4 right now. They have been trading bits of removal. You had Merciless Eviction I told you about a minute ago. Angelic Edict has been used. Executioner's Swing has been used. And now, here's Shadow Slice going on to White of Precinct 6.
Oh, geez.
In it goes. This is serious.
How big is that white? 4-4?
Yeah, it's 4-4 right now. That Boros Elite has been there for absolutely ages, doing very, very little. Arsenal Munch has got this Orzhov Key Rune back as a 1-4 lifelinker, back on D, if you like. And right now, this could be the definitive swing of the game. The players, no cards in hand for Arsenal Munch. 3 left for Melderhome. Maltico is going to attack taking advantage of Vigilance to nip in for a cheeky 2 damage. Puts Arsenal Munch down to 7, then passes the turn with 5 mana opener in this Orzhov Mirror, round 1 of 4 in sealed. Here comes Devour Flesh. How about you choose? Well, there's the Extort. Waiting for that to happen. Maltico says, yes, I wish to extort you. Go to 13-6. Just turns out they all have removal all the time. So, response, clever. I'm going to activate my Orzhov Key Rune, make sure I have 2 creatures, then I can choose to get rid of Orzhov Key Rune. Nice play by Arsenal Munch. He gets to keep his Wider Precinct 6, and it's now a 5-5. And in it goes. 5-5 against 2-4 Vigilant. That's not a fair fight right now. Shadow Slice as well. There it is. Target opponent loses 3 life. Coming right down to the wire. Arsenal Munch looking to make this 1-1 force a decider.
Got a real slugfest over here. There's some severe combat happening right now on my screen as well.
Some severe combat,
yes.
Okay. We are slightly cleaner over here. We've got a Blind Obedience coming down. The Wider Precinct 6 has gone. Listen, everything has just died in this match. Look at this. We've been going and going and going, and there are 2 non-land permanents in play. That Knight of Obligation and the brand new Extorter Blind Obedience. So it's 1-1 in Extort. So and they're both so low on life, this is going to really come down to who can get just that little bit of gas, one creature that can get through. Right now, you've got to say, MTGO's in the driving seat, because that Knight of Obligation, 2 damage, he finds another creature, extorts, suddenly, Arsenal's into the Last Chance Saloon. And now, here he goes again. It's Grisly Spectacle to take out the Knight of Obligation. He's going to get to extort with the Blind Obedience trigger. That's exactly what he's going to do. He's going to leave 1 white mana up. And then, yep, Knight of Obedience is going to go away. Why don't we head across, Marshall? Tell me what's going on with you.
So there's a double block happening right now. Firemane Avenger and Slaughterhorn have teamed up on an Rd1 veteran that has triggered its double strike ability from Battalion, and it also has Madcap skills, plus a Warmind Infantry and 2 Sky Knight Legionnaires are all battling in for David Kaplan. Now, right now, what we have is the Firemane Avenger and the Slaughterhorn have double blocked, and there looks like there's a Martial Glory going on to the Slaughterhorn to save it. So it looks like Jaxad is going to go down to 4 life here after taking damage from both Sky Knight Legionnaires, and the board is going to be cleared, so the Martial Glory basically didn't save it. It enabled a trade.
Yeah, and this is the deciding game in that one for you,
absolutely. Right? David Kaplan looks to be in excellent position right now. That's a good one, though. So he's sitting at 17 life with Jaxad only at 4, but now there's a 4/4 Flying Angel that's also in the way.
So is that courtesy of Urbis Protector?
It is indeed. There's a guy on the ground, and it looks like David Kaplan is forced to just pass the turn back.
Another winner, Hiroki Yamashita, HT991122, has defeated Johnny Hot Sauce by 2-1. Andrew Shrout has a defeat to get the ball rolling, and the reigning player of the year, Hiroki Yamashita, has the win.
All right, so they've just been passing the turn back and forth, except that David Kaplan added an armored transport to his side, but it still doesn't quite enable an alpha attack thanks to that Urbis Protector, but it looks like he's ready to go. He's going to battle with all 3. This gives him a chance to win the game in 2 turns. Oh, he's thinking about it. He's doing a little dance here into the red zone. You put 1 foot in the red zone. If he attacks with all of them, then Armored Transport is going to get blocked by Urbis Protector, and he's going to lose his Sky Knight in the deal, which isn't bad, but almost any creature makes that much less good. So he decides just to play Xurtos Swine here. He didn't want to move all in. What he could have done is use Blood Rush on the unblocked creature, but if it gets killed, then he just gets completely blown out, and as the board sits, it looks like he's in a favorable position to win next turn, or at least put a ton of pressure on his opponent.
I just want to tell you that Undercity Plague, a card we talked about during the build, is encoding a Boros Elite right now, and is potentially winning the game.
That's what ended up happening
Potentially, Melda is going to win the game on the back of a Boros Elite with Undercity Plague.
That is not normal, Rich.
No, I know, because Arsenal Munch is just down to land and a Blind Obedience, and he is sacrificing a land every turn.
All right, so Night Watch for Jaxad is going to be met by an attacking Armored Transport and a Xurtos Swine. It looks like he's going to chump block the Armored Transport with Urbis Protector and trade his Night Watch tokens for the Xurtos Swine. Oh, he's rethinking that. No, he's just going to block with the Angel. Assuming that David has no tricks, that's obviously a much superior block. All right, so Xurtos Swine down, and the Angel still lived. There was no trick, so he's in a similar position to the one that was a few turns ago. He's got 2 cards in hand and a bunch of lands on the table. He's facing down David Kaplan, who also just has to pass the turn back. And it looks like Jaxad has again just passed the turn, and here it is. Goobafish has had enough waiting around. He's going to attack with all 3 creatures. Is this going to be good enough? Well, it got him down to 2. That's a start. Assuming that Jaxad has nothing, then Kaplan's in good position for next turn. But it's a towering Thunder Fist for Jaxad. He's got 2 4/4s, and he has fully stabilized this board. Plays a land and ships the turn back. Now, you got to wonder what Kaplan has in hand. He's got all of his colors and 4 cards in hand. Probably a couple lands in there, but he's got to have something else. All right, he plays a land for the turn. This is a tense moment as he decides if he wants to attack. If he does, you can be pretty sure that he's got a combat trick, but he did not attack, so he doesn't have anything, and he just has to pass the turn back. Vigilance. And here comes the offensive for Jaxad. He's going to actually be able to start attacking thanks to Towering Thunderfist. A smite could ruin his day here, but it doesn't. You got to be careful to play around smite there. Didn't seem to have it. And it's a Zertos Swine and a land for Jaxad. Now he's got a pretty beefy board here, and he's looking to pull ahead. David Kaplan so close, his opponent on 2 life. Currently unable to get around that Angel, and he just plays a land tapped and has to pass the turn back. Right now, Jaxad actually has lethal, but he can't really make that attack. So he's going to attack with his 2 big creatures, the 4/4 and the 5/4. And we actually see a chump block. No, not a chump block. Maybe. Yes, a chump block from David Kaplan. He needs to get that Angel out of the way or find a way to do 2 damage to the face. Burning Tree Emissary will keep him alive for another turn, but does not win him the game. Jaxad's tapping mana. He's got Vigilance on his Towering Thunderfist, and he's going to attack with the same 2 creatures as last time. Again, one of these has to be blocked. Now it's lethal.
It's only round 1, but huge moments here in this deciding game.
All right, Prophetic Prism. Can it draw him what he needs? David Kaplan facing down tons of power and toughness to a lowly 2/2. It's a Slaughterhorn. Again, enough to keep him alive, but barely. See if Jaxad moves all in. He can attack with all 3 creatures and force Kaplan to block. He doesn't. He's just going to attack with 2. Same play as last time. He's being very careful to leave that Angel back. And that's it. David Kaplan concedes, and it looks like Jaxad has won round 1 versus Goobafish.
Okay, so we are looking at Ari Malco, Lord Nazgul, on the top of the screen, up against Painas, that is George Pinazzo. On the bottom, 22 plays 11. Ari leads this one by 1-0. And as you can see, we're kind of in the mid-game right now. This is at turn 9. Plenty of land on both sides of the table. About 3 or 4 cards in each graveyard. And right now, you're looking at double Extort on Lord Nazgul's side of the board, this Syndic of Tithes, and the 1-drop Thrall Parasite, up against a fairly traditional Boros board, the 3/4 Ember Beast, the 2/3 could be a 4/3 Warmind Infantry, and a pair of Vigilant Knights, courtesy of this 5-mana Night Watch. So we're with Lord Nazgul right now. He doesn't have any attacks. He's also got Dimir Kirun up at the top. Remember that at some point that can become 2/2 Blue and Black Horror, and it would be unblockable. So that 11 life, kind of worth keeping an eye on right now, but we're kind of in a fairly stable board state as George decides where to go, and he is going to pile in with the team. You see that those Vigilant Knights have gone in. That triggers the battalion. It'll be a 4/3 now. And George will be looking to get rid of these Extort guys off the battlefield to get rid of that Extort coming back to threaten his 11 life points. So Ari still at 20. He's got a ton of life going up there. You've seen this frontline medic already bitten the dust. One imagines that there was a pit fight somewhere in that's
yeah, Ember Beast and Pit Fight are a particularly good combo together.
Sure. Because that nice mighty 4 toughness on the Ember Beast is a thing.
Yes.
4 the magic number, as we like to say.
In this set, yeah.
In this set, yep. And just what we mean by that is that if you have a back end of 4, like this Corpse Blockade has 4 toughness, that makes it pretty significant to get through.
Absolutely.
And in different sets, it'll be 3.
Yeah.
You'll find that things will be 1/3s, and that'll be a thing.
Yes.
Right now, Gate Crash 4 is what we call the magic
thanks
number.
to Wojak, Halberdiers, Daring, Skyjack, a number of creatures that are 3 power for only 2 mana.
So we're with Painas. George again repeating the trick. In comes the team. Warmind Infantry will become 4/3. There are still 3 blockers on the other side of the table, but that's because Lord Nazgul decided to go from 20 all the way down to 12. He cannot do this indefinitely. He cannot do this for long. Both players with a ton of cards in hand. You see Nazgul has 4 and George down here has 5. So one imagines they have plenty of removal, plenty of tricks to go with. Let's take a look. It's Devour Flesh you see there on the stack. So what would you like to get rid of? I imagine you just lose a knight here, right?
Probably, yeah. Devour Flesh is an interesting card. It can be devastating or very mediocre depending on when you cast it.
Yep.
Sometimes they go turn 2, whatever, and then put madcap skills on it, and then you get them. And other times you get half of a night, a night watch.
So you have that Devour Flesh also triggering 2 Extorts, which is going to drop George down here to 9. And now, finally, still on the stat, that Devour Flesh will resolve. And that's interesting. Decided to lose the Ember Beast.
So what could happen there is Lord Nazgul, if he didn't sack the Ember Beast, could sack his Thrall Parasite and make the Corpse Blockade have Death Touch. Oh, this?
So 2-2, 1-4, and 1-1 up against 2-3, 2-2, and 2-2. Other matches still going on.
I thought that was her last one. It's not.
No, there's still like 2 or 3, I believe, going on.
There's 3 outstanding right now.
Have you? Do you want to run us down the scoreboard right now?
Yeah, sure. So of the open matches, the one that you're watching, Lord Nazgul, Ari, he's up a game. Yep. Of the other outstanding ones, we have Andreas Eklund, that's Ekin. He's playing against DZY, Jan Vandervikt, and they're 1-1, so they're tied up. And then a match that I have in front of me is Arsenal Munch versus Malco, and Malteco's up a game.
No, they're tied at 1 now.
Oh, are they tied at 1
Yeah,
now?
we watched Arsenal Munch. I watched Arsenal Munch win the game 2, so they're into their deciding game. And here we see Killing Glare for that Warmind Infantry. But George has a response. He's tapped 3 mana, 2 red and a white, and then changes his mind. Okay. Yep, Warmind Infantry goes. Interesting. So now the 2 knights go into battle once more. They stay upright, they remain vigilant. Corpse Blockade gets in the way of 1. 2 damage coming through the other way. That is what's going to happen. No choice from Lord Nazgul to sacrifice another creature to gain Death Touch. And now the Extort matchup changes a little bit because we've now got Syndic of Tides on both sides of the battlefield.
They're staring at each other.
Yep. Scorchwalker. Down we go. Straight up 5-1. Not waiting to use it as Blood Rush +5/+1. Just get another body onto the table. George 12-5 up over Ari here. Dimir Guildgate and the Guildgates in general, Marshall, they haven't seen a huge lot of popularity in draft, but here in sealed, when you see these Esper control decks, if you like, absolutely where cards like Dimir Guildgate shine.
Yeah, it's funny how that shifts, because in draft you'll run them if you have to, but you'd rather not.
Yep.
And in sealed, you really want them, because you often need to splash, and they're the best way to do it.
We're into the attack, and it's Syndic of Tides. That's an interesting one that George is prepared to trade that off. So now, blockers, Corpse Blockade in the face of 1 knight. Lord Nazgul, you feel starting to run out of time here. 12-5 behind. And also worth noting, just to give you, for those of you not that familiar with Magic Online, both players have time clocks. Right now, 7¼ minutes for George. Just coming up to 5 minutes left for Ari. If he does not win game 2, he may have some time issues to look at in Game 3. Here's Grizzly Spectacle. Right, the board changes again. Ari not done. 7 to 10 now the total. And he is now single extort to none as both Syndics go to the graveyard. Ari untaps with 2 cards in hand. Still 4 cards in hand for George. And 6 mana, 7 mana, hello. And then even the dagger lets extort as well. His Diluvian Primordial.
He just extorted his Diluvian.
Yeah,
is he going to extort the spell for free too?
No, I don't think he's going to get to do that.
Okay.
But he's going to get to look for something. What does he get? He's looking at Night Watch over there.
Hey,
wow,
looks like a creature. A lot more like a sorcery. That's insane.
Wow, that's so the value. There's the extort trigger. He doesn't have a 9th mana to pay for it.
What a shame.
But what a gigantic turnaround. And now the emphasis is all on Pioneers here at the Mox to find an answer to this gigantic 5/5 flyer that has already provided extort value and 4 power of vigilance to match up against this 4 power of vigilance on the other side. Symmetry again on both sides of the board.
For George.
Okay.
That could be good.
Yeah. Where do you think that takes him? Oh, okay. Well, a Kingpin's Pet brings him to extort parity again. It also lets him potentially look at an attack after Diluvian Primordial attacks.
True.
He has the potential to see whether he can craft a win should the Diluvian Primordial go in.
It also gives him access to smite if he's rocking any smites.
Uh-huh.
To actually use it. Ooh.
1,000 lashes and extort. Do you know, I don't think Lord Nazgul is interested in playing a third game. He's under 4 minutes now. His time clock has changed. He does not want Game 3, and he's doing all he can to take this one. 8 plays 7. Diluvian Primordial is gearing up to come in. Looks like both knights are coming in right alongside. Wow. And there you see Kingpin's Pet. It can't be activated. Oh, and that is it. There you go. George bites the dust. 2-0 to Lord Nazgul. So we go back to Marshall Sutcliffe.
I've got some haymakers going on over here.
What have you been watching?
So I've got Malco versus Arsenal Munch, and as you can see, there's a pretty well-developed board here with an Alms Beast, which is currently attacking and getting lifelink itself. Thanks to a Vizkopa Guildmage, which can also activate again if he wants. I don't think he's going to. No, he decided not to, but he could have done that and had Arsenal Munch lose 6 life as well.
So this is the final game of the final match. Everything else is in.
Oh, okay. We have a Guardian of the Gateless for Arsenal Munch. So this is the last one. He's also left up his Orzhov key rune for activation. As we see, there's a very well-developed board. You'll notice that Assault Griffin's only a 2/1, and that might look a little weird. The reason is because there's a Smog Elemental out. And one thing about Magic Online that's fantastic is that it automatically will update that kind of thing.
Sure. So right now that Assault Griffin is a 2/1.
It is a 2/1. And Alms Beast comes crashing in. Orzhov key rune looks like it's going to get activated here, and probably that Corpse Blockade is going to trade. He's probably going to double block and then sack the key rune. No, looks like he just wants a single block. It already has lifelink, so that doesn't really change anything. But at some point, Malco can activate that Vizkopa Guildmage and then activate the other ability. He decides not to again, though. Guildmage, these Guildmages are really great. We call them mana sinks late in the game. It's a great place to spend mana when you don't have anything else to do, but apparently he wanted to keep this mana up for something else. He's sitting at 11 life, so he's pretty comfortable here, and he's really putting the pressure on Arsenal Munch. Here it is again. This Alms Beast just keeps coming in over and over, but Malco has something he wants to keep that mana open for. Because he can say whenever your opponent gains life this turn, whenever you gain life this turn, each opponent loses that much life. So he can use that to give this life link, which he just did, and then he can pay another 3. Wouldn't quite have killed him yet, but he would have been close. Because remember, the creature blocking Alms Beast also gains lifelink.
Yeah, so what we saw there was Corpse Blockade gaining Death Touch, so the Smog Elemental sacrificed to it. That prevents the lifelink happening on the Alms Beast.
That's right.
Which is why you see the life totals remaining at 11, plays 12. If you're kind of new to Magic, that's a really cool trick. You can, if the creature doesn't get to deal the damage with lifelink, it doesn't matter that it has lifelink. And the Corpse Blockade, you talked about a mana sink.
Yes.
Well, Corpse Blockade is a sack outlet, as we call it. A way to sacrifice things if you need to.
And it looks like he's content to just keep doing that. It's a little strange that he hasn't traded off the Corpse Blockade, but I'm probably just missing something. Well, there could be clock play here as well, as we can see that Arsenal Munch is below 2 minutes on his clock, and Malteco might be just trying to clock him, as he hasn't attacked with any of his other creatures either.
I'm going to come right out and hazard a guess it's not going to matter.
Okay.
I mean, that is a dominant board state on a tabletop on a Magic Online.
Yeah, I mean, why isn't
But he doesn't need to. Right? I mean, how is
Arsenal
Munch winning?
Griffin?
How is Arsenal Munch winning from here?
Well, he's not.
Quite.
Yeah.
So, therefore, Maltigo is just like, I've got an Alms Beast, prod. I've got an Alms
but I mean,
Beast.
he's got an Assault Griffin, like...
Sure.
Okay, looks like he's had enough.
Yeah.
He's got 10 mana now. He's just going to ship the team in here.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least most of them. Nope. He's pulling a few back. All right, so just these three. Okay. So the pressure keeps coming in here for Malteco. I mean, you know, one of the ways that Arsenal Munch could win the game is if he draws, like, Merciless Eviction, wipes the board. Now, that wouldn't put him in a great spot at a minute left on his clock, but, you know, that's one of the reasons why you want to keep pressure on your opponent.
Sure. The thing is, Maltigo knows all about Merciless Eviction. He's already seen it twice.
Has he?
Yeah.
So Arsenal Munch has Merciless Eviction?
Yeah, Arsenal Munch...
I didn't know that.
This was the match where Arsenal Munch traded for Alms Beast with Merciless Eviction in Game 2.
Oh!
Yeah, that was this match.
I was just saying that hypothetically.
Oh, no, you don't need to be hypothetical.
Oh,
it's real. Merciless Eviction is a thing.
Wow, okay. So
totally,
Malteco really needs to make sure that he keeps the pressure on then. Maybe it's in the graveyard. No, it's not, so... Although I have to say the clock is now becoming more of an issue because even a card like that won't save him.
And to be clear, if the clock runs out, you die. It's not about life totals. It's not about who would have won. There's no concession going on here. It's just that clock is your hard limit.
That's right.
Play faster.
All right, so we see lifelink is going to be given to the Assault Griffin.
And that's the thing, because Maltico is getting himself out of range here with this lifelink.
Yeah, I mean, Malteco is going to be completely out of range, but he's given another guy lifelink. Now, what he needs to do here, though, is make sure that he uses the other ability.
And,
sure, the
and
Corpse
dagger
Blockade
the other
can
way.
get it. Yeah. Here it is. So now he's got it that way. So this is actually a lethal attack.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess it wasn't. Oh, right, because of the lifelink that the other creature blocking
again,
gets,
the same Corpse Blockade trick.
Yes.
Yep.
That's right. So this could be the last turn. Only wimpy Corpse Blockade, but even then Malteco says, no, I will not attack with my Viscopa Guild Mage. That's funny. All right. Grizzly Spectacle is going to take out the Alms Beast, and that will let Arsenal Munch live for one more turn, potentially. Although lifelink, and they go to damage. He doesn't want to kill him.
Just
he could have activated it there, right, and killed him with the
there it is.
Griffin.
There's your result.
All right, Boros Elite,
done.
Thanks to Extort, is going to finish things off.
Okay, so that is the end of a breathless first round here.